Vincent Goodwill, Vincenzo Goodwill Jr. the third, ESPN NBA senior writer. He was there for the Game 4 Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and the Cavs. If I would have told you in October the Knicks would be in the NBA Finals, you would have said what?
They better be. That's clearly what the edict was going to be late, even before James Dolan said it on January 5th. In October, everything was laid out for the New York Knicks, Dan. No Jason Tatum, and we didn't know what Jason Tatum was going to look like. We knew there was going to be no Tyrese Halliburton, who got hurt in the opening minutes of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Everything was laid out for the Knicks to get to this point. Now, how and all the other ways, couldn't have predicted. Couldn't have predicted them bludgeoning these teams and doing it in the manner in which they've done it. But as far as getting to the NBA Finals, I would say this feels more like 1994 than 1999 as far as predictability.
Vegas source told me that if the Knicks played the Thunder, Thunder would be a pretty good favorite. If the Spurs played the Knicks, it would probably be a pick 'em. Who do the Knicks want to play?
I think the Knicks probably want to play San Antonio because remember, if you go back several months, the NBA had that cup thing in Vegas and San Antonio was there and the Knicks were there and the Knicks won that game. They corralled Victor Wembanyama. Now, granted, completely different circumstance, right? The Knicks were a much different ball club at that point and they still handled the Spurs, but the Spurs were a different ball club too. I think it comes down to a matter of who's healthier. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shakes up out of this slump and gets Oklahoma City to the finals, where's Jalen Williams' health? Like, he's the second best player on this team. Like, where's Chet Holmgren as far as his fatigue? Where's Victor Wembanyama as far as his fatigue and all those guys? They haven't played this long. Like, Dan, you know how fatiguing this is. The Knicks have had the benefit of beating teams coming out of very fatiguing 7-game series. That's Philadelphia after their first round tilt with the Celtics coming down from 3-1, and Cleveland after going 7 games with Detroit, and the Knicks have pounced on them. When the finals happen, there could be a 3-day break, but it's not one day and then game 1, and then you can't really get from behind the 8 ball.
With the Knicks, this has been a historical run. And we were just talking about there's no consolation prizes with New York sports teams. Right? So you've come this far, you get to the finals. It's not a question of, hey, if we win, you have to win, I think, to come away from this saying, I feel good about this season. Well, I can tell by your facial gestures you don't agree with me.
No, I can't say that. I used to be the person that says winning is only winning. But when you ain't never been no damn where for 25 years, Dan, like, people are going to remember this night. People are going to remember that Sunday in Philadelphia, Mother's Day. Like, they're going to remember the journey. They're going to remember the despair that they felt when they lost, when Tom Thibodeau was fired, when they lost to Indiana last year. Man, we may not ever get back here again. And then you wind up getting to this stage so far. And I was telling a lot of people last night, yeah, Knicks fans should celebrate. Not just because June is coming and you have no idea what happens there, but this has been a remarkable run up until this point, one of the more dominant runs in NBA history. It is really damn hard to get to the NBA Finals, and it should be celebrated. Like, for whatever reason, when baseball teams clinch their divisions, they have beer baths and celebrate, and they do it in every round. And in the NBA, for some reason, it's like you can only win the championship or else. I no longer subscribe to that theory.
Well, the Atlanta Braves won one World Series, but they were always in contention. Do you think that they came away going, hey, we lost another World Series. We had a great year. It's about winning. The Knicks should be good. They should be good.
Dan, have you not seen the New York Knicks in the way that they have operated for 30 damn years?
No, this year they should be good because last year they should have been in the NBA Finals. They should be here. Boston was wounded. People still were skeptical of Cleveland. We didn't trust the 76ers to stay healthy. How the Hawks got in and, took a 2-1 series lead, I mean, they should be here. They were a really good team this year.
They should be here. You're talking about them winning it. You're going against potentially. Let's just look ahead.
Okay.
You are potentially going against the current, in theory, dynastic team in the Oklahoma City Thunder with a two-time MVP and a reigning champion that could have very well have won 70 games this year, if not for going 1-4 against the San Antonio Spurs. And that's the other team on the other side of this, another 60-win team with an alien that you have no answer for. So while I'm not saying the Knicks should be satisfied, I'm saying let's keep this all in perspective. Remember, Dan, remember this. Stephon Marbury, Amari Stoudemire, Carmelo Anthony, Phil Jackson. Hey, should we trade for Giannis? Maybe we should trade for Giannis. You traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. All of those things, the Knicks have routinely found a way to get in their own way for the better part of 30 years. So to say, hey, this is the only thing that matters is winning this championship. If you're the Boston Celtics, yes. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, yes. You know the phrase that we say sometimes in black households when we go somewhere new? Act like you've been somewhere before. Don't embarrass me. That's what we say. That's what we should be saying to the Knicks. They act like you've been nowhere before. They've never been nowhere.
We're talking to Vincent Goodwill, ESPN NBA senior writer. The Cavaliers got swept because
they're not that good. Sometimes the clearest answer is the answer that's in front of your face. For one, when they lost game 1, that was it. I don't know what Kenny Atkinson is saying. I don't know if he shows up for game 5 and what if they hang a banner for the analytical. I don't know what the analytics said about last night, right? But there comes a point in every playoff series, especially when you lose a game in devastating fashion. Like you knew in 2018 when J.R. Smith didn't realize time and score in game 1 of the finals, and that destroyed LeBron's best singular performance of his career. You knew the Cleveland Cavaliers were not winning the game. When, I'm going to take it even further back to you, Dan, the Memorial Day miracle of Sean Elliott, the San Antonio Spurs, when they beat Portland in that game 2, after Portland had a 20-point lead, you knew that series was over. Just like you knew this series was over. I predicted a sweep from the beginning. You can go check it. The Knicks were going to sweep this series because the Cavs were tired already of the 2 7-game series, and then were emotionally worn out. And then we got the guy in James Harden who says, hey, is the series over? I will help with that. And he will then help with that, with a turnover, with not getting back on defense. That's what last night looked like. That's what this entire series looked like.
I'm wondering what Sacramento Kings fans feel like today. They traded Tyrese Halliburton. He leads the Pacers to the finals. They traded De'Aaron Fox. He's in the Western Conference Finals. They fired Mike Brown. He's now headed to the NBA Finals. The Kings are kind of like a AAA team, a feeder system here for some of these teams in the NBA.
Look, well, Vivek Ranadive, it just shows you that, Dan, this thing starts at ownership. And the great NBA owners routinely get out the way. The more we speak about your name, it's probably not in the positive context, right? How many times have we said the name Jim Dolan outside of him saying we better get to the finals? Outside of that, he's been regularly quiet. But when you talk about the Kings and some of these other franchises that can't get it right, it's usually because ownership can't stop meddling. Now, Sacramento has had, crossroads. Well, do we take Halliburton or do we take Fox? And you wind up taking Fox, and then that winds up going sideways after having a couple of good years with Mike Brown as your head coach. They have a mess that they have to work themselves out of, but good to great teams identify the marks that they can eat off the trough of. And Sacramento, to a large degree, has been building NBA Finals teams for the better part of the past couple of years.
I did think about LeBron James last night, as I always do, Having worked at ESPN for 18 years, you always have to think of LeBron James.
You were thinking about LeBron James last night, as you always do? You want to rephrase that, Dan?
Yeah. Well, not late at night, but just in the evening, I was thinking of LeBron. Because if the Cavs got to the finals, I don't know if they would be entertaining the idea of LeBron, or maybe vice versa. The fact that you get embarrassed in the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't know if it changes the percentage of LeBron going to the Cavaliers or staying in LA in your mind.
That's a great question. I think, Dan, it comes down to dollars and cents. Like the Cavaliers are the one NBA team in this very punitive second apron, which means they don't have the mechanisms to pay a player like LeBron James as their roster is currently constituted. And then you add on the possible or likely James Harden extension, because you don't trade for James Harden at this age and trade a point guard who's 10 years younger for James Harden for a 1-year rental. Like, you don't do that. Even if you think LeBron James is coming back, I think the most they can offer him is $3 million. Even though LeBron is no longer peak or prime LeBron James, he's still an all-star. He's still an all-NBA capable player, as we've seen through these regular season and the playoffs. The Cavs don't have the money. And last I checked, LeBron has not taken a discount since coming back to Cleveland in 2014 to ask him to move his family, to move that baby. That baby don't know nothing about Cleveland. That baby knows about Los Angeles. And to say, we're going to move to Ohio, everybody, and Ohio winners, and we're going to take a $40-something million pay cut, then you got to make that make sense.
Yeah, but the kids are out of the house, and maybe, it's 1 year. It's like going on a winter vacation. You're going to be gone for a while. It'd be a cool story. He's already a billionaire. Now, I know you don't want to walk away from $50 or $60 million, but what's LeBron playing for now?
That's a great question.
He's playing for LeBron. So what is going to help you? Another good season with the Lakers? You're not getting through OKC and San Antonio. You can go to the East, and your path might be less crowded.
Okay, let's also flip this. Dan, you ain't turning down a dime. You're not turning down a dime at this stage of your career. You think LeBron is? That's point one. Point two, did you hear Kenny Atkinson say, analytically, we're up 2-1 in this series. Can you imagine if LeBron James was on that team and that was his head coach saying that? LeBron would lose the remaining follicles atop his head if he had to deal with supporting all of that. I don't know if the Cavaliers are as close as this conference finals run has indicated. Like, we don't look at the Knicks as this historical great 60-win team. I look at them as a team that won a great historical run that had some breaks go their way. The Cavs went 7 games with the Toronto Raptors. The Cavs went to 7 games with the Detroit Pistons, who are going to be as bad this year as they will ever be for the next few years. That is a monster that is growing out there. And I don't know if Cleveland, with a 1-year LeBron rental, if that makes the most sense. And here's the other part. Retiring as a Los Angeles Laker and being a Laker for life, or retiring as a Cleveland Cavalier and being a Cleveland Cavalier for life, which he's always going to be anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to be a Laker for life. He's not homegrown. It's just different. They might give him a statue or something, but it feels like a lot of people are getting statues.
Shaq wasn't homegrown, and Shaq is a Laker.
Well, Shaq did bring him 3 titles, too.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you.
All right, I just throw things. My job is to ask questions, Vincent. That's all. That's all
I
do.
get you.
I just ask. I'm John Stockton. I just dish. That's all. Whatever you do with it after that, it's on you. I just dish. That's it.
I have a John Stockton take. I'm gonna let it. I'm going to let that one ride. Because you had Isaiah on last week.
Yeah.
And I give you credit for having Isaiah on last week. I meant to text you about that. I give you much props for having Zeke on and not baiting him. Don't bait me today.
Sometimes you don't have to bait Isaiah. And did you hear him when I said, give me your all-time starting 5, and he waited on Michael Jordan? I go, wait a minute, you paused. He goes, yeah, I was thinking Kobe, I was thinking LeBron. I went, damn.
He was thinking of a team. For one, he was thinking of building a team. And for two, he put himself there and he said, me and Michael Jordan played well together, which they did when they played together in All-Star games. I give Isaiah credit for maturity, because then you were trying to get him to the point to say something else.
Yep.
You were trying to get him to go viral.
Yep. Yeah. Just doing my job. That's it. That's all I do.
And you're very good at it, Dan.
I'm Scott Skiles. That's all I want to do. I just want to, just
30 assists, 1991. Good job.
I know.
Good job, Dan. I like that.
I still like that Skiles, when he was at Michigan State, is yelling at John Thompson on the sidelines to get somebody out here who can bleep and guard me. During the game, Skiles is dribbling over by the bench, and he yells to Big John, get somebody out here who can bleep and guard me.
I don't know if that's the smartest move to be yelling at Big John Thompson, who could flatten you, without even moving the towel from his shoulder. I would tell Scott Skiles to relax. There's a few men that I wouldn't mess with. Big John Thompson is one of them. The late, great Paul Silas is another one. There's just trees you don't bark down. That's all I'm saying. I get it. You're feeling great, but, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, play the long game. All right, so who comes out of the West?
Man, I still think the champs are the champs. And I got questions, and I have questions about their health. I'm not sure about Jalen Williams' health. Like, when you repeatedly hurt the same soft tissue, that hamstring, that's a question for me. My biggest question is, how much energy do the San Antonio Spurs have left? I just saw the Cleveland Cavaliers run out of gas. Like, one, they quit, right? Cleveland quit. I don't think San Antonio's going to quit. But I wonder how much energy do the Spurs have at this point to go to a game 5, 6, 7, playing every other day, and asking Victor Wembanyama to carry this against this really good team in Oklahoma City that's just not playing well. And at this point, here's the other thing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's a 2-time MVP. He's lived a pretty charmed life up until this point. He's going to have to show up, and not by showing up by falling on the floor. He's going to have to give you a suitable for framing game 5, 6, and possible 7 in this series. That's going to be required of him in the next 5 or 6 days. I'm anxious to see if he's up to it.
Suitable for framing. Seems like you've maybe written that before, haven't you?
Nah. The only thing I've said, Dan, is June belongs to no one. And that's what we are finding out in these playoffs. And, with all the parity in the NBA. So it could be the champs. Or it could be San Antonio's time because the league moves faster than ever, quicker than ever. Nobody would have expected the New York Knicks, the team that routinely broke themselves every year because Tom Thibodeau drove them so hard, to be the team that breaks everybody else in game 4, game 6 of these playoff series. The Knicks have broken their opponents, and I could not have predicted that. I don't think anybody could have predicted that.
Vincent Goodwill Jr. III, ESPN NBA senior writer. Thank you. We appreciate it, Vince.
Hey, happy belated birthday too, Dan.
Thank you, man. That's Vincent Goodwill. Always fun having him on.